Expedia and Visit Scotland invite you to come experience the beauty that awaits in Scotland. The sweep of wild coastlines, quiet lochs, and untamed landscapes. Fresh cuisine that feels rooted in the land. Come experience the kind of stillness that stays with you long after you leave. Plan your Scottish escape today at expedia.com/Visit Scotland.
Send Help is now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
We're somewhere in the Gulf of Thailand.
Getting us out of here should be your focus. I'm your boss. You work for me.
We're not in the office anymore.
It's bold, relentless, and endlessly rewatchable. Discover why critics give it 93% on Rotten Tomatoes.
You're so fired.
Oh, am I? No help is coming.
Send Help, rated R, now streaming on Hulu and Hulu on Disney+.
I want people to know, because there's a lot of fear on this, I want people to know that in the formulas, there is corn syrup solids. That is very different. And the corn syrup solids is basically a group of glucose, that sugar that the baby truly needs to be able to grow and develop and to get that energy that it needs just to live. Well, there's the confusion here is that there's something called high fructose corn syrup.
Yes.
That is found in drinks and sodas and sweets and all these things because it does have that added sweet. I want people to know there is no high fructose corn syrup in baby formulas. It's very well regulated. There is a lot of safety. Breast milk is absolutely, if you can go 100% of that, fantastic. But I don't want moms to feel guilty if either they choose to go with the formula route or for whatever reason they have, some underlying problems or they're stressed or something like that, and they can only produce a certain amount. Then add that formula, because the most important thing for that baby is to be nourished, and to be nourished well. Formulas can really support that side.
Hey everyone, this is Jonathan Marks from Go to Health. How are you today? I hope you're having a great day. The MAHA movement has shined a spotlight on the nation's food supply, especially the food we give our youngest children. Over the past year, Google searches for baby formula ingredients have surged, with noticeable spikes after public comments from figures such as RFK Jr. Related searches like baby formula ingredient lists are up 50%, and terms such as corn, soybean, and especially seed oils are trending nationwide. Yet the conversation has produced more confusion than clarity. Parents are increasingly asking what's really in baby formula, what ingredients matter and which don't. To help us all separate myth from science, pediatricians, scientists, and infant nutrition experts from the Mead Johnson Nutrition Institute have launched a new website called factsaboutformula.com, a new evidence-based website designed for parents who supplement or who choose formula feeding. Our guest today is Dr. Prem Fort. He's a double board-certified pediatrician and neonatologist with 20-plus years experience in research, including basic science and multi-center clinical trials. He most recently served at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital in Florida, where he chaired the Maternal, Fetal, and Neonatal Institute Research Council. He's published extensively, led NIH and industry-sponsored trials, and received teaching awards, delivered national and international talks, including a TEDx, and reaches over 65,000 followers on social media with 1 million plus YouTube views. He's a credible source for you to learn about what's in infant formula. And before we get to Dr. Ford, a reminder, if you're watching us on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify, please give us a thumbs up or a 5-star review. That helps other people find us and spread the word. Thanks in advance. So welcome to the show, Dr. Prem Fort. How are you today?
Good. Thank you so much, Jonathan, for having me.
Good. So tell us, what is driving the spike in searches around baby formula ingredients, and what are people looking for? What are they Googling?
Yeah, this whole year, we've seen this spike of surges for families that are trying to understand a little bit about what are the ingredients in formula. And again, as a pediatrician, I love that families are trying to, educate themselves and gain more knowledge, because it is important for them to know what are they nourishing, their children, their babies. And so I love that they're actually doing these searches. But The thing is that these searches are happening on the internet and a lot through social media. And there's some great people on social media that are putting some accurate information with a lot of facts, but a lot of that information that comes through social media, some of that is clickbait, shocking, sensational things so they can get the views. And that comes with a lot of misinformation and fear to the family. So this thing that they're getting through social media and through the internet, now you're getting families saying, wait, is that true? And they're going in and they're searching again, ingredients in formula. What's this about seed oils? Wait, sugars are in formula and all these things.
Got it. Tell us what you mean when you say clickbait. What is that so people understand?
Yeah. So, within social media, you have these, when you're scrolling, where you're looking at stuff, you suddenly have these either people who will, use some sensational words like, did you know? And they'll say something which is probably not true, but it captures you. So you now click, and that's why the clickbait, you click on that video so you can see it, right? It's a way to sort of bring you into that. And as you start seeing those videos, obviously it's views for the people who are on social media.
Got it. So these are not always evidence-based. So what are
times not?
Yeah. So what are the most persistent myths about baby formula these days?
Yeah, there's a lot of myths that we see that are circling around, especially in the last several months. We hear, myths like, well, European formula is better than US formula. We hear that organic formula is, better than our traditional formulas. But a couple of things that we're seeing come out a lot is about this, why are seed oils in formula? What about corn syrup? Why is corn syrup in formula? And why is it, it's bad and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of shocking misinformation that we're seeing a lot.
So is corn seed oil or any of the ingredients you just mentioned, are those bad in baby formula? Is that something people should be watching out for?
Yeah, let me tell you first that, again, as a pediatrician, I've got to say, nature has done an amazing job for hundreds and thousands of years creating the perfect ingredients to nourish babies, and that is breast milk. Breast milk has a fantastic, group of different components with fats and carbohydrates and protein. And so when we talk about seed oils, for example, the maternal breast milk uses, about 50% of the energy within maternal breast milk actually comes from fat. Now, again, nature's been perfecting this for hundreds and thousands of years, but, formula companies are figuring out, well, what do I need to do to be able to create nature's perfect liquid? I actually call it liquid gold for breast milk. So formulas are trying to figure out, how do I get that perfect mix that nature has worked on? One of the ways it does this is through seed oils. And this is actually something that is in our foods that we consume every day. But it gives you the perfect blend and the perfect, groupings of different fat molecules that are needed for these babies to grow and develop very well.
So let me go back to something you mentioned a minute or two ago, people's interest in European formula. Is European formula different from US formula? Should people be seeking European formula, or are we okay with US formulas?
Yeah, the reality is that, first of all, formulas, whether it's created in Europe or here or even in Latin America, if it's going to be sold here in the US, these formulas have to have the components that are needed to ensure that babies grow and develop with it. You can't sell something that doesn't have that. And so from that standpoint, European formula and US formula is very similar. Again, it has to have those three components to be able to help that growth, those proteins, those carbohydrates, and those fats. And there are obviously, different parts like, vitamins and minerals. And that's where we see a little bit of the difference. So to your question about whether they're different, in that sense, there are parts that are different. I'll give you one example. Here in the US, and these differences come from a regulatory standpoint. In the US, the regulatory part for iron says that the minimum has to be higher for iron. Iron actually, as you know, it's good to be able to decrease the risk of anemia. In Europe, that regulation has a lower level of iron. So that's where we see, as an example, a difference. Another difference we see in European formula to the US formula comes from a specific fatty acid, which is really important for growth and development, called DHA. And DHA is really, science has actually shown that it's important for brain development and also eye development. So it's standard in Europe. Here in the US, this is actually optional. Now, because there's been some great science behind it, a lot of the formula companies are actually already putting DHA, the appropriate levels here in the US because it has been shown. So my opinion is, and this is in the environment that we are right now, why spend the extra money trying to, ship or, transport a formula from Europe? And now with all the tariffs too, that you're spending more money to bring in stuff from Europe that really doesn't show that there's a difference to it. There's no clinical outcome showing that European formula is better. We have great formula here in the US. My opinion is don't spend the extra money. It's really, really well, tightly regulated and very safe here in the US.
Good. Thank you for that. Let me share the website where people can go to learn more. It's called factsaboutformula.com. Let me repeat that, factsaboutformula.com. So, doctor, what cautions do you have about parents researching baby formula ingredients?
Well, the caution is where the information is coming from. And again, this is where I think it's fantastic that parents want to know, that parents want to educate themselves. But a lot of the times they don't know where they're getting their facts from. And when I in my practice, I hear, families and moms come all the time and they say, hey, I've done my research. And that's great. I love that they want to learn. I love that they want to do their research. But where do you get that research is really important. When my team and I created factsaboutformula.com, we did so with a team of scientists, other pediatricians, nutritionists, lactation consultants. These are all the people that are involved in the study and education of, formulas and breast milk. And we decided to put it in one place so that families can show up. We made it with a language so the families can truly understand, educate themselves. And once they have that education, then they can make the decisions for what is best for their baby.
Good. Thank you so much for sharing the background of your team and the evidence basis. Folks that listen to this show know that I'm all about evidence-based medicine, so I'm very glad you shared that. Tell us a little bit about your background, Dr. Fort. What kind of science and practice do you do?
Yeah, so as a neonatologist, a lot of people, it's one of those words that a lot of people likely don't know. And that's a good thing, because as a neonatologist, I take care of babies when they're born premature, when they're born with some, problem, either infection or they have some abnormality with one of their organs. And of course, they come then to the neonatal intensive care unit or NICU. And again, I'm glad that most people don't know that, because I love what I do, but I don't want any baby to be in the intensive care unit. But this is one of the things that I do on a day-to-day basis. I love it, taking care of babies, having a parent give you a baby who might be sick, and with your skills, with your teens, with all the tools that we have, that we can give that baby back, healthy for a parent to take them home and have a wonderful life. There is nothing more rewarding than that.
Good. Thank you for the work that you do. I really appreciate it. And I know the parents do as well. So, doctor, at this point in the interview, I ask, what question should I have asked that I didn't? Or what kind of big message would you like to leave with people today?
Yeah, one of the other things that we talked about with the myth is about this sort of corn syrup and the idea that, there's these, sugars that are added. And it goes back to that energy thing I talked about with breast milk. Fat is a part of energy, 50%, but then there's that sugar or carbohydrate is that 40% energy place. I want people to know, because there's a lot of fear on this, I want people to know that in the formulas, there is corn syrup solids. That is very different. And the corn syrup solids is basically a group of glucose, that sugar that the baby truly needs to be able to grow and develop and to get that energy that it needs just to live. Well, there's the confusion here is that there's something called high fructose corn syrup.
Yes.
That is found in drinks and sodas and sweets and all these things because it does have that added sweet. I want people to know there is no high fructose corn syrup in baby formulas. It's very well regulated. There is a lot of safety. Breast milk is absolutely, if you can go 100% of that, fantastic. But I don't want moms to feel guilty if either they choose to go with the formula route or for whatever reason, they have, some underlying problems or they're stressed or something like that, and they can only produce a certain amount. then add that formula, because the most important thing for that baby is to be nourished, and to be nourished well. Formulas can really support that side.
Thank you so much for being with us today, Doctor. To clear this up, I'm going to get the word out as much as I can so that we can help new mothers and feed their babies the correct ingredients. We've been talking with Dr. Prem Fort, MD. He's a double board certified pediatrician and neonatologist with 20 plus years of experience in research, basic science, and multi-center clinical trials. He was recently at the Maternal, Fetal, and Neonatal Institute Research Council. He's published extensively, led NIH and industry-sponsored trials, and has received teaching awards, delivered national and international talks, including a TEDx, and reaches over 65,000 followers on social media with 1 million plus YouTube views. Dr. Fort, thanks so much for being with us today.
Jonathan, thank you so much for having me.
Good. So, everybody, listen to what Dr. Fort is saying. Go to a fact-based website where you can learn about what's really in formula. It's called factsaboutformula.com. This has been Jonathan Marks with Go to Health. And as we say at the end of every show, go to health. Thanks for being with us. Stay tuned. We'll see you again next time. Bye. Thank you for tuning in today to Go to Health. You are one of almost 10,000 people per day who enjoy the evidence-based health information offered by our guest health experts. You can watch us on our website and YouTube and listen to us on 8 podcast networks. Be sure to join Jonathan Marks in our upcoming shows each week. If you like our show, please share this episode with your friends and colleagues. You can subscribe to the show, join our email list, send us feedback, browse through the online store, and view our library of over 150 shows at gotohealthmedia.com. See you next time, and remember to elevate your life with Go to Health.